Hi everyone, this is Mr. Foster. In this video, I'm going to be going over some tips on how to stay organized as we look ahead toward the university application process. Now, choosing a university and getting ready for the application process is highly individualized. When we are looking at universities and courses and countries, it really is dependent upon your own criteria. Not your friends, not your teachers, not your counselors. It is solely yours. And we kind of categorize those criteria into two categories. One would be academic, courses, course entry, um, types of school, those sorts of things. And then we would look at more like social aspects of what it's going to be like to be living in that town, city, campus, non-academically. As you are looking for universities, you're going to be asking yourself some basic questions. One of which is, what are your career aspirations? How you choose a university is going to be very dependent upon if you have a very strong aspiration for a specific career. If you are, dead keen on nuclear physics, well, that's going to be a guiding part of your selection process. If you are a little bit more open-minded and don't really have a specific strong driving force academically, perhaps you want to go to university and kind of explore a little bit more, well, that's just fine. Shouldn't stress about that. But that's going to be part of your search criteria. Now, the other thing that we need to think about is, what do you have to offer? Uh, it's going to come down to your academic history and your ability to fill in an application to the best liking of the admissions office. So when we're talking about academics, we're talking about what sort of IB score you've got. If you've taken a very hard, difficult course load. What about testing? Is things like the SAT, ACT, are they required? How did you do on those? Those are going to be limiters as far as what universities are appropriate for you. So the other criteria, or the other question that you're going to ask is, what do you enjoy doing outside the classroom? This is going to be more, of course, towards the social side of things, but that's a big part of your decision, and I don't think that you should downplay that. It's a big part of your life for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years while you're in university. And again, I can't stress this enough. This is really your decision. I want you to solicit support and information and ideas from a number of sources, but really the decision has to be yours. So as we're looking through our criteria, here are some suggestions and for what you may think is important and what you may not think is important. Things like location, geographically, is it close to your home? Is it close to your relatives? What about the weather? Hot, cold? I know I don't particularly like cold weather, despite where I went to university. So that could be part of your criteria. Do you want to be in the city? Do you want to be in the countryside? It's up to you. Do you like large universities? Do you like small universities? Is the percentage of international students, is that important to you? What about the class sizes? What about the physical size of the campus? Some of these campuses are small cities. Academics, what about the courses that are offered? How selective are they? Does your university have a strong ranking? I mean, maybe that's something that's really important to you. I know for a lot of international students that makes sense. What about the average test scores for these universities? Is it appropriate for you? And things like student-faculty ratio. How much access are you going to have to your professors? Other things to consider would be cost. tuition, room, board. It's not cheap, definitely not cheap. Also think about the possibility of work study and internships. These are all possible at specific universities, but you need to do your research and figure out whether that's available at the ones that you're interested in. Also consider travel fees. Are there going to be, is it really far away from where your family is? Then you're going to have to add on some flights. Um, Other things to consider would be financial aid. If that's a need for you, then you have to make that part of your search criteria. You also need to think about whether or not they offer it to international students or domestic students only. What's the percentage of people who get aid? Um, and do you have to apply for home status? Do you have to apply for in-state tuition? Are there national regulations? So just you have to do a little bit of research on that as well. Let's see. Course requirements is another one. Look at your deadlines that may be applicable to your courses. You may also need to take some tests, things like the BMAT, the UKCAT, the SAT, the LNAT. These are all possible tests that you may have to take. You also need to think about what IB courses are required. Some courses, depending on country, will require you to take specific courses. And if you haven't taken those courses, you're not eligible for that course. And then also think about your overall IB points required. Kind of back to location, but this is a little bit different, is environment. The environment is going to be things like, is it a research university or is it more focused on undergraduate teaching? Also think about sort of the political vibe at on those campuses. Is it more conservative? Is it more liberal? Where do you fit into that mix? Some schools, some universities are religiously affiliated. Some are right in the heart of a city, and some of them are miles and miles and miles away from the nearest pizza restaurant. And trust me, that's going to be important at some point. So think about those sort of things. Other things you want to consider would be housing. Are you going to be in dorms? Are you going to be in dorms for your all 3 or 4 years? Are you going to be in dorms for 1 year? What about your food plan? Another thing that is important is activities that are available. So things like if you enjoy playing specific sports, is that available? Are there clubs and organizations that are going to support your interests? And really, you need to kind of just think about who you are, what you want out of your university, because really anything is possible. You just need to find those that are a good fit for you. Now, one thing I do want to stress is that there is no such thing as a perfect school. There is no such thing as a perfect school that fits you. And what you'll find is that there's one amazing school, but there's also probably 20 other schools that are very similar to that school. And you need to consider that. So don't get your heart set on one university. The chances are there's several universities, and that's, search around a little bit. Oops, sorry. Okay, we're going through here. Okay, so ways of getting and staying organized. First up is you should definitely organize your email. If you use Microsoft Outlook, please make a folder in your account that is specifically for university stuff. You're going to collect emails from your counselors, from your tutors, from your teachers that relate to this stuff, and you need to keep it all in one place. Another thing that I really encourage and I think is fantastic is Dropbox. Dropbox is just a company that enables this web opportunity, and that is that they create a folder that it syncs with itself, and you can have this folder on your computer. You download it onto your computer, so it's just like a normal folder that is part of Windows or your operating system. And but it's also online, so you can always get documents out of that folder online anywhere you are. And if you make a change to one, it syncs with all of them. So it's a fantastic invention. Kudos to Dropbox. The other thing is Google Docs. So I'm going to show you how to do this quickly, and we'll do this. Try to do this as painfully as possible. All right, so we've got a Google Doc, and I've thought about all of those things that I just talked about: the location, size, academics, cost, financial aid, course requirements, environment, housing, activities, all of these things. And unique to me, I'm going to think about what I consider the most important criteria when I'm looking for a university. And I'm going to do that right now. Magically have this fill itself out. Okay, through the magic of screencasting, I've managed to fill this in. So my criteria are on the first row here. Things that are most important to me are going to be location, weather, size, whether or not they teach English literature, or how good the program is, the average SAT score, the average IB score. I would like to try to play lacrosse there, so I'm going to include lacrosse, and any notes that I might want to make about that university. Cost is not an issue for me, so I don't need financial aid, and I've left those off. So that's fine. But this is individual to me. Now I'm going to fill in some universities. You can really start anywhere. So I'll start with my alma mater, Colby College. So I like this school. I'm going to look at this, fill in this information, and perhaps doing some research on Colby College would lead me to another college that is similar and that I might want to look into. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, so now that I've gotten some universities and colleges that I'm interested in looking into on my left-hand column, I can go through and fill this in. And this is a great way of staying organized. I like these schools, and I'll be able to compare and contrast these universities and colleges, and therefore it'll kind of help make my decision-making process a little bit easier. Now, where do I get all this information? There's a lot of different sources. If you come up to the counseling office, the senior studies, we have a lot of resources here. So, for example, we have some books, lots of books. Okay, these are, not everything is on the most everything is on the web these days, but there's a lot of good resources here that we really encourage you to utilize, and they are here waiting for you. So definitely worth checking out. Another place to look is, of course, the web, and you can find out a lot of information by just going to university websites. And if you want to find the basic information, one of the things that I would really encourage you to do is to just go to Google and type in college profile. And I think, let's see here, this is the most trustworthy one because it's the admissions office at Vanderbilt. So if we just go there, that'll give us quite a lot of information, basic information about class sizes, who attends, demographics, testing, academic criteria, all of those things. So this is a good source, obviously, for filling in our here we go, our Google Doc. So once we finished doing the Google Doc, one of the things I would really like for you to do is share it with your counselor. And all you have to do is put my email address in there, and good to go. So I hope that this has been helpful. And I'm sure that we're going to be working through a lot of this stuff over the coming months. So good luck with everything.